NewsNation reporter Jack Royer with our Birmingham station WIAT is also live in New Orleans for us tonight. So, Jack, what are you seeing near you?
Rudabeh, we've been out in it since about noon today, and I mean out in it at street level. We wanted to get up high to give you a better vantage point. We can tell you this is the worst we've seen from Hurricane Ida the entire time we've been in New Orleans. In fact, look right here, these roofs being ripped off as we speak tonight. This powerful storm now sitting here just dumping rain on New Orleans and the French Quarter. We're just down the street, in fact, from where we saw a roof already ripped off today from one business, and now the winds here that are absolutely unbelievably forceful. This dumping rain as the storm starts to slow down is quite, as you can tell, taking its toll. In fact, just moments ago, we were standing here as we watched the power go out. We're looking at two major hotels, a Marriott and a Sheraton, both skyscrapers, and in one click of an instant, the power in the deck parking garage that we're in, both hotels and all of the buildings you see behind me just snapped off. Several of them have generators. It appears the power has come back on, but you can add some of these spots to the more than 400,000 power outages, a number that leaders here say is sure to grow. As I am talking to you right now, Rudabeh, I'm watching debris fall on buildings across the street here, just flying out of nowhere. We're hearing loud bangs every few moments, and it's things falling on the roofs amid the sound of generators running, trying to keep the power on in some of these buildings. Some of them feel uninhabited at this moment. It seems for the most part the French Quarter is pretty desolate, as Marky mentioned in her reporting just a moment ago. There are not many people on the streets tonight. There are not many people that would appear in these buildings because it would be so unsafe to do so. And there are warnings tonight from Plaquemines Parish, just a few miles from here, that one of the levees there could be overtopping. That is bringing more concerns of flooding and the levee system possibly failing in some spots 16 years to the day after it so famously did when Hurricane Katrina made landfall. The governor, of course, warning ahead of this storm this could be worse than Katrina in some respects, and we're sure seeing that with our own eyes tonight. In New Orleans, I'm Jack Royer. Rudabeh, back to you.
Jack, this is Albert in Chicago. Before we let you go, one heads up, yes, the weather is going downhill now. You may have a little bit of a gap where it comes down in terms of wind for a bit, but you are about to get nudged up against the northeastern eye wall. So within the next, I'd say 30 minutes, you're going to notice those winds picking up even more. You mentioned you're already seeing structural damage on some nearby buildings. If we were to see those wind gusts exceed 100 miles per hour, which is certainly possible where you are, again, within the next hour, give us an idea of kind of the buildings around you, what they may look like if that were indeed happen, because at this point, we've only seen wind gusts around 70 to 80 miles per hour.
In fact, I was standing, Albert, in one of those wind gusts earlier today on one of our other platforms, tracking the tropics that many of our viewers have watched on social media over the past few days. And I asked, how bad are these winds right now? And was told by a meteorologist on that feed, they're about 70 miles an hour. Right now, I'll let you see these buildings one more time. These famous balconies that are so identifiable with the French Quarter. We're a few blocks away from Bourbon Street, probably 3, 4, 5 blocks away. But you're going to see structural damage, I believe, similar to what we've already seen, which is those wrought iron balconies you identify with New Orleans and with the French Quarter. One of them was ripped away already a bit by this roof that we have been showing you. This fire escape right here is teetering where it would typically be held up and released if it was needed to be used. It is like a seesaw right now in this powerful rain. And I tell you, it's even worse now than it was when I began speaking to you a moment ago. Just absolutely incredible what Mother Nature is doing. That's not an overstatement right now.
And Jack, it's Rudabeh again. You were out there in it yesterday, too, covering the preps. You were talking to people who said, we're just going to have faith in the engineering system here and hope the levee works. And you brought us stories of people who were refusing to leave. What have you been hearing today?
We've been seeing a lot of people walking around in this storm, if you can believe that. About noon today, as we learned that this storm made landfall, we were standing outside of our hotel, and a guy walked by in shorts and a t-shirt holding a draft beer. So there are people who are almost defiant about staying, about riding this storm out. But as someone who's just coming to New Orleans in the last few days, I can't imagine choosing to stay here unless you had to. Now, we should note, there are plenty of people with very important reasons for having to stay. First responders and frontline workers. We've spoken to a few who were on call as doctors this weekend. So many important people who had to be here in this storm. But it seems to me, if you stayed, you might be regretting it now with the force of Ida. Rudabeh.
Jack, thank you for that report. And from the vantage point up high, you can really see the damage. You can see the roofs from above. We now want to bring in Lieutenant Melissa